You see that number? 10K a month. You want to hit that. You want to hit that number, don't you? Yeah, I'm going to show you in this video the easiest way you've seen. Any SMMA people, trust me, you want to watch this video. Trust me. Let's get into the computer. So the easiest, simplest way to hit your first 10,000 of your whole life is to monetize influencer attention. We'll get into it in a second. So if you guys don't know who I am, you're not familiar with what I do, my name's Abdul Al-Tamimi. I run a PCMA, Paid Community Management and Growth Agency. And I'm going to show you guys why you need to do this shit before it gets saturated. I've made so many videos of this. I've done every single business model you've heard of. The SMMA, the dropshipping, the AAA, growth partner, anything. I've made some money, I've lost some money, but nothing stuck. I'm going to show you guys how these DMs made me 10,000. Those DMs that you just see in front of you from those messages made me $10,000. I hit my first 10,000, hear it again, first $10,000 a month, first $10,000 a month using these DMs. So what is PCMA? Paid Community Management and Growth Agency. So what is a paid community? Simply, this is one of the communities online on SKOOL. SKOOL is a platform where you can host communities, very simple. And that is Caprice. He holds a clothing brand community, makes $60,000. $60,000 in 1 month. So what does the management involve? The management involves setup, theme, community, funnels, and we'll get into that in a second. And then the growth element is obviously scaling and building out and trying to optimize the community. So there's 3 sections to how we do PCMA. The pre-launch, the launch itself, and then obviously the scale. So pre-launch could be anything from content creation. Launch is obviously the community itself, and then scale, trying to optimize the community once again. So this is simply how you do it. I didn't want to put so many crazy words, animations. I don't want to do a paragraph. I'm just going to do it simple as possible for you guys to understand. So what is the modes of outreach? TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and we actually use LinkedIn, funnily enough. So we want to look for niche influencers. I've got a little graph for you guys to show. So you've got mega influencers, 1 million plus, macro influencers, 500K to 1 million, mid-tiers, 50K to 500, micro, 10K to 50K, nano, 1K to 10K. So these are the followers breakdown, and this helps. So when you want to actually look for influencers, you get a gist. If you're a beginner, try to work from micro, mid-tier kind of people. And then when you start to build your confidence, start to build out your portfolio, then you can actually move to micro and mega. That's what I've done. I was able to quickly move to macro and mega quickly. So it's nothing crazy, but you have to be confident in the deliverables and be able to guarantee what you can actually provide. So I was able to send these DMs, like I said in the first bit. So I sent out a DM. I'll go into these ones. So one of my accounts, obviously a female, I'm not gay. Hey girl, I love your content aesthetic. Do you have a paid community by any chance? See how simple that is. I see guys DMing me about appointment setting, closing, anything. Why has he written me a paragraph? I don't care. I literally don't care. You've sent me a whole paragraph and a half, flipping 300-word report about what? Why do I care? Just ask a question. I love what you do. Do you have this? If they reply, they reply, but I don't need to waste that much time flipping writing a paragraph for someone. Just ask them a question, pique their curiosity, pique their interest. I literally got 50% open rate from this. Maybe they don't go right, maybe they work, but at least I've not wasted flipping 3 hours writing a paragraph for someone. Another example. Hey Martin, I love your content and your free resources have been a huge help. Do you have a paid community by any chance? Simple. I use this strategy for any platform I want. It's the simple strategy of just saying, love your content, do you have X? Love what you do you have X? I use it for everything, even if it's not a service. Hey man, love your stuff, do you want to hop on a podcast? Anything, just simple. Pique their curiosity, compliment them, move on. Send about 100. Did you hear me? 100 DMs minimum. a day, minimum. Minimum, not maximum. Not wallahi you do 20. I want minimum 100. Easy. Alright, community rollout. So before we actually tap into community rollout, actually, you've sent out a message. Let's say the conversation. He replies, okay, what's paid community? Simple. Paid community, you host a community on a platform, or you have an info product. Just simple stuff, guys. Don't sell them in the actual conversation. Don't go into it in the conversation. Hey man, this is the community. This is what we do. Let's talk about it in a call. Let's talk about it over lunch. Let's talk about it over some coffee. By the way, when you're in person, this is for people that are more like physical, or they're more good with their personality and people skills. In person, yeah, conversations can go so well. You can show them your work, quicker feedback. You can actually have a conversation. But obviously, if you're virtual, if you're somewhere else, do a conversation online. But have them in the meeting. Actually talk about most of, or the bulk of what you do in the meeting. But try to pique their curiosity first. So you would ask about the paid community, etc. So now we've actually piqued their interest. Now we've actually sold them on the meeting. We've told them what we do. We've told them what we want. Now it's the community rollout section. So we sit with the potential client and we tell them, what do you envision the community to be about? Obviously, we would have done so much research before, so much, like go over all their websites, over all the public information that he has, all their platforms, any information that they have to kind of understand their brand better. Because this is a brand image at the end of the day, and we'll get into why that is in a sec. So we want to define the community goals, define what you actually want from the community, and then you want to set the thumbnail plus mission. So on the actual, I'll actually show you guys. So actually this is a thumbnail. So the project is a thumbnail, and then the mission is the #1 clothing brand community in the world. So we'll set that for them. So we've set the thumbnail up. This is just a 1% of what you guys need to do. This is why it's an A to Z, full-fledged thing of helping them start their own community. So you set up an admin. You want to be able to get access to the community, because then you can be able to moderate the community. Then you can be able to actually work on the content. You can actually look inside of the community. You get full control over their community. And then you want to roll out an MVP. You don't want to be just sitting there for 3 months hoping and wishing what this community is. A week max on envisioning what the community looks like. A week max on how the community is going to look like. Then roll out an MVP. I've literally ran communities where he's only got a week worth of content. Just a week. Yeah, but he's been able to get thousands of people inside of his community because he's created a buzz around his community. He's created traction around his community. People want to join that community, even if it's not fully finished. And there's strategies around how you can actually utilize that to then reduce churn rate. So for instance, you've created a buzz around the community. People are starting to actually join the community, but because it's only an MVP, because it's not fully finished, the price of the community is low. So let's say $20. Yeah. For people that join now, it's only going to be $20 for their whole lifetime of being inside that community. But for someone that wants to join later, it will be $30, $40, $50. You get what I mean now? So now it reduces the churn rate of people inside the community, so they don't want to leave, because if they want to come back, then it will be more expensive. And for people joining, it will be at a more expensive price, so you've gained on both elements. And then we want to push out content with lead magnets. Lead magnets refers to short form or long form content where there's a CTA, a call to action, to actually head over to their community. This is the thing. Previously, a lot of influencers, personal brands, whatnot, would push out content, no CTA, no lead magnet whatsoever. There's nothing to actually do besides watch the video. So if I'm teaching about trading, for instance, I've helped someone trade, or I'm showing the charts, whatever. I have zero clue on how to trade, but the viewer wants to learn more about trading. So what would he do? He'd go onto the guy's profile, he'd go onto his bio, look for more information on how to get to it. There's a community. The community is going to have more information. So for instance, someone that is a low ticket client would go into the free community, start to build up. There's free content there. There's just simple content. Then he wants to be into more exclusive content. What would he do? He'd go into the low tier community, $20, $30. Then he gets pre-qualified and he gets into the low ticket community. Inside of that community, what do we then have? We have our sales team that will then upsell him into our high ticket. You see how it all works now? It's a funnel system. We'll get into funneling in a second, and have a whole video at probably like 40, 50 minutes on me breaking it down. So after that, we have ad content and course material. We help, as PCMA agencies, we help basically create a skeleton around their content, basically carve out what their content looks like based on our professional experience, content and course material, because people actually show people how to do things. So there'll be course materials. So people are starting to come. Now we need to welcome them. Welcoming is important. This is a community, not a course. I say this all the time to clients, to people who are watching a video. This is a community. When you treat it like a course and you're just dumping information, then they leave the next day. They've retained that information, or they probably even saved the information, recorded it somewhere, and what? They just leave the next day. So the churn rate is huge. But how can we reduce that? By hosting games, weekly calls, meetings, workshops, in-person masterminds, all of this with the goal of trying to reduce that churn rate. Because then people aren't just there for the information. They're there for the community. They're there for the weekly calls. They're there for the games, for the meetings, the workshops, the in-person masterminds. All of these things, you can't put a number on. You can't put a price on them. So a big example of that is Hamza Adonis. He literally has coffee calls with his community. Coffee calls. He literally has coffee calls with his community. So that's not information. That's not a course. That's not content. That's nothing that I can watch and that's it. Or I've watched and that's it. There's nothing else left. But with a weekly coffee meeting, weekly interactions with his community, he then reduces the churn rate, and he makes his community as active and as engaged as possible. I'm actually seeing communities where, how does he have 10,000 people and there's only 3 people online? What does that show you? People aren't there to actually retain information or actually trying to join the community. They're just there to join. And even when they pay, payment is not an indicator that they'll be there for their whole life. Some people literally pay and they don't even take the course that they're there for. They're not even there for the content. They just feel like they're doing something. They feel inspired. But anyway, after we've done that, we want to build out a funnel system for them. So like I said, we have the free community, the low ticket community, and then the high ticket community. Free community, the idea with that is to get as much numbers inside of that community as possible. Try to garner some buzz around the low ticket and high ticket. Start to get some more numbers around our community. And then slowly we can start to funnel them, and they start to trickle down into the low ticket and high ticket. And obviously with that, how we would play around with that is by having sales personnel or sales force inside of these communities. So for instance, the free community, there'll be people inside of it who will be like, hey man, I love how you're doing in the community. You're doing really well. Have you ever thought of, or do you want to take this a step further? Let's go into the low ticket. Obviously it'd be much more extensive and it'll be better. Sometimes they even book meetings, calls. Then they'll be in the low ticket. And it's the same rinse and repeat methodology into the high ticket. But obviously high ticket, you're not talking about $20, $30 here. We're talking about 3, 4, 5K just from a single person for the high ticket offer. And this is why we're able to have a $10,000 retainer on our offers. This isn't no, let's do $500 for the SMMA guys. This isn't our $200 ad spend and you get $200 to keep. I'm charging $10,000. I'm charging $8,000. Why? Because I can ensure if I get you 2-3 people in the high ticket community, because primarily the goal is to get as much people. The prize is the high ticket community. If I get you 2 people in the high ticket community, it break even. You've paid me back. There's now low ticket that generates people $20,000-$30,000 on a monthly recurring, and high ticket alone can be generating 50K. You get what I mean now? And if I can charge 10,000, which is only 10%, 20% of what you're making, with all the systems, with everything built in and plug and play systems that you get to utilize, and even when we finish our contract with them, they can actually use, then for them it's a irresistible offer. It's so easy to not take. So after we've done that, we've done the fit funnels, we've tried to reduce the churn rate as much as possible. We have a active flow, we have an engaged community. Now we need to strategize. Now we need to actually build for the future. So we have our 3-month, 6-month, and 9-month goal. I want to carve out what has been working, what has not been working. Look at all the lead magnets. What's been working with the lead magnets? Keep A/B testing, keep experimenting. What is working, what is not working essentially with the community, and building on that and trying to grow the community, trying to get as much exposure, much eyes towards the community. But essentially guys, if you were to take one thing from this video, one nugget, let's say, it is you are increasing the brand valuation of X personal brand. This isn't about services. This isn't about I'm doing ads for the personal brand. This isn't about whatever services, AI services, anything, automation service. This isn't about that. This is about brand valuation, how your brand is perceived, how your brand image looks. So you are essentially pitching transformation. You're pitching growth to that brand, how people perceive that brand. And this doesn't come at a small cost. This doesn't come with making $1,000. When your brand valuation increases, I'm talking about $10,000 MRR. I'm talking about 30, 40, 50K monthly recurring revenue. I've created them an external traffic source, an external income source for their brand. So you see the difference. The minute I stop my service, the brand stops with it. However, when I pitch transformation, when I pitch systems and plug and play systems for that brand, and I increase the brand image completely, then what do I have? I have a new brand image. And simply put, for that potential customer, for that potential client, I have now created them a new brand. So this is why it's so easy to pitch this offer. So if you want to learn about this, I've got a whole free community with a whole course around how to do this with no cost as yourself. If you want to do that, send me a DM. I've got a link in the description. Very, very simple. But actually implement what I'm saying. Actually try to actualize what I'm doing and saying for you guys.